Okay, so we're back again, ready to do some more tests. Today we're going to look at doing a 2-point anchor on the raft using a piece of webbing as our anchor point. So here we go, we're now set up. We're using a piece of webbing to create a two-point load distributing anchor. Each anchor has got 2 legs. So that piece of webbing has been multiplied 4 times, so that should be quite a strong anchor, going all the way back to our internal simple 3-to-1, which in turn comes back to the winch with Zach, and we have our load cell in place ready to go. So let's see how it goes. Here we go. Okay, it's sounding quite quick, and just a 1 point on the side has gone. Moment of truth, and that peaked at 4.5 kilonewtons.
That's it?
And look at the size of the patch that it's pulled
Whoa,
off.
that was probably a pretty...
That, I reckon, could have been a weak patch compared to the others that we pulled yesterday.
The material ripped.
Yep. Compared to the others that we pulled yesterday, we just walk around here. We pulled this one yesterday, the patch stayed intact. We pulled this one and the patch stayed intact. This one.
Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's hook it back up. Do these 2 D-rings. Because this one looks, I want to see if this one can break.
Let's do it. So here we are now with test number 2. We've gone on to the D-ring on the front of the boat and the internal D-ring, which could be used to make it an internal peel and pull mechanical advantage system. We're all set up, exactly the same parameters. Zach's just tweaking everything. Let's see how this one goes. Is it time for the Ford? Yeah, we're going for the Ford.
Okay, we're doing another test with 2 D-rings, a 2-point anchor, which I think is an awesome technique. But we already saw once that once one of these went, the shock load blew the other one, which makes me nervous. So I want to do a few tests to know what's going on. And if you come close and look at the D-rings, we're doing more tests, but also wondering is if I pull this bigger D-ring that's already kind of weakened because it's old, versus this D-ring here, we're pulling it to the side. I think this one's gonna break first because they're not meant to be pulled this way. It's really hard on D-rings. The beauty of this is we're gonna find out. So we just blew a D-ring. I was wrong. I thought this one would pop. This one, you can see the fabric just ripped off. So some of these D-rings are pretty suspect. We did this at 4.47 kilonewtons. That means that thing probably only had 3 kilonewtons on it. Pretty weak for a D-ring. It is an old boat, but the thing I'm getting from this that makes me happy was even though this blew, this one held on. So in this case, the shock load didn't send the equipment back at the people pulling. So I want to share some of my thoughts about things I've learned through this test. I've always been a big proponent of 2-point self-equalizing anchors on rafts, and I found they work pretty well. But we did have an example. I think we did 4 or 5 tests. One of the times, one D-ring blew, and the shock load broke another D-ring. I also learned they break the ones we tested on this older Sotar. And first of all, thank you, Sotar, for giving us boats to destroy. Thank you. This is great learning for us, and we're very appreciative of that. That's an important thing to say. We found that sometimes they blew around 3 kilonewtons. 3 kilonewtons is about as much as maybe 5 or 6 people can pull, or maybe like 3 people could pull on a 3-to-1. It's just generalizations, but like it's 3 to 5 kilonewtons is realistic to pull on by a team. So one could blow at 3, some blew at 5. They pretty consistently didn't go above 5. And we found that with the 2-point anchor, we could pull at like 7 kilonewtons sometimes. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of math. I'm not going to get into it. But that's one thing I learned, is that 2-point anchors can blow. So my suggestion would be, if you're anchoring onto a raft, you have 3 things that can keep you safe from the stuff firing back at you. One is a 2 or 3-point anchor. Another one is a damper. We did a video about that a couple of videos ago. And a third is a redirect. And we've been using a redirect this whole time because I don't want to be in a line of fire. I would say choose 2 of those and you should be in good shape. The dampener worked pretty well. And so if you combine that with a 2-point anchor, I feel good about that. Or a redirect just gets you out of the line of fire. But I would choose 2 of those options. The other thing we experimented with was going through a floor. Like, we didn't show that in the videos much, but we put the back anchor against the tree through the floor down here, and we tore the floor up. So although this is an interesting way to anchor, just throw a flip line or something, which is what we did, around the tube, it does tear the floor up a little bit, and that's an expensive thing that can happen. So if you do that, you want to be really careful because, again, it's pretty expensive. So those are my thoughts based on those experiments. I was a pretty staunch advocate of 2-point anchors. Minimum, you don't do 1-point anchor, you do 2 minimum, but now I'm really feeling like 3 should be the standard, especially after we saw one blow both anchor, like it blew one and the shock load blew the second. I think a 3-point anchor should be the standard. We're now going to do some experiments with 3-point anchors. That video is coming up next.